Chapter 26. An explosion lit the space, slamming them against castle walls as electrical bolts spiderwebbed about. Shizzle and Lights huddled round JK, offering limited protection as the force battered their suits, leaving surrounding rock seared and smoldering. The smell of burning flesh permeated the air where JK slumped, smoking. "Thought you quit," Burlow drawled, expression damp. He knelt to inspect the damage as Lights tossed a taser grenade back, its plasma orb sending bolts of electricity to clear out the halls ahead, disabling the few remaining guards. The group pressed on, dragging JK through crumbling walls which threatened to crash in on them. When Reuter and his boys finally surfaced from the tunnels, they could hear alarms ring out as Geek's relief flooded in. "Starting to worry about you lot. Look out and keep her secure. You got 5 minutes until keys self-destruct, unless you reset the alarm or connect the third." "Copy that." Burlow, Sev, and Horder positioned themselves to provide cover from on top of the keep, as Reuter's team jetted to the roof of the gatehouse, firing at the guards defending it. But as Airy came to land, a bullet plowed into the side of his jetpack, safety eject throwing him over the edge. Plummeting toward the ground, Maestro's grapple hook caught and hoisted him unceremoniously back to where he dangled like a fish until Millie could yank the kid in his armored suit back over the edge. Much to the old boy's amusement, he watched the kid jump to his feet and continue the fight with all the more gusto. Having secured the roof and forced entry to the gatehouse below, Chair let out a lengthy cuss, fist plowing into the table as Reuter peered over his shoulder. "Dongle won't connect to that. Not unless you got a floppy or something old school." Reuter chuckled. "A shoelace work? It would if I were there." AMJ crackled back through comms as Geek cut in. "Chair, your suit's autofix has a 3D printer. It's a small piece of kit, but should work." "Less of the small." Chair smiled, ejecting the processing unit for his suit's autofix. "Gonna need a minute. Never been asked to make anything floppy before." As Chair cracked on with a fix, Lilibay secured the window with Reuter. "Always pictured you as the performer of the group," Reuter jest. "Us firemen catch the imagination, boss. X. Once a fireman, always a fireman. And our Lil Irish leprechaun," Chair added with a chuckle, picking off guards below from where he stood at the window. "Little. Got the luck of the Irish, mate," Lilibay scoffed. Out of ammo, Chair resorted to throwing components out of the window, knocking off a few guards climbing the walls. The Volkov, meanwhile, had set fire to the gatehouse and begun to ram the door below. Reuter watched as the old wood downstairs began to smoke and spit. "Could use some of that Irish luck about now." On the roof, the rest of the boys fought back the Volkov mob who'd amassed below. Thousands, it seemed. Ari and Lilibay picked off those climbing ladders and using auto-grapplers to try and reclaim the gatehouse roof, while Millie, AMJ, Quattro, and Grimmy picked off those who got past. There were so many. They were completely surrounded, heavily outnumbered, ladders and auto-grapplers relentless. The Volkov determined to reclaim the gatehouse or have fire take it. Back at the keep, Lights and Curly battled to overpower the guards that breached the narrow stairwell. Shizzle arrived just in time to help push back through the narrow staircase. While at the lookout, an explosion ripped through the sidewall, catching them all by surprise, sending Malau, Zeke, and Schwartz flying. Chalky clouds heavied the air where they lay among fallen bricks and mortar, still as stone. Icy fingers crept up Geek's spine as he saw the first 3 body cams flicker out. "Malau, Zeke, Schwartz, do you copy?" His voice washed out over black screens and static. Highwind's voice finally trickled back through. "Look out, breached, out, Mo." Back at the gatehouse, Ari's gun clicked a couple times as well, out of bullets. Using the back of it, he bat a couple guards from the roof. While at the keep, JK's head fell back on cold stone, having briefly lost consciousness. Grace watched him wash past in Mobius, his entire life in a breath. From blue ice cream, table tennis, and the day he got married, to the day his path crossed routers and all this stuff that followed. As Grace zoomed out, she could see his life, adventurous as it was, just a single stitch in this living tapestry, helping to hold others around it in place. But as his STEM CPAC filtered through his system, it began repair, allowing JK to return to his form, back to the cold stone he lay on. Forcing his eyes open and his legs to stand, charred skin that had fused to armor tore. raw tissue wet between plates where he leant at an arrow slit to line up a shot. "Sit down," AMJ barked at JK, whose vitals flashed up on their feed. "Less you got a death wish." "I'd miss your mum too much," JK wheezed, pain cutting his chuckle short, the gun's recoil punching into raw flesh. Growling, he shot another on top of the gatehouse, wrestling with Ari, as thunder cracked overhead and it began to rain. "Someone up there taking the piss." He scowled up, unmoved. Meanwhile, Router stared down at the doors that buckled, straining to hold back the mob outside and then to chair. He wasn't yet close to a fix. They needed more time. "Where are you going?" "To buy time." Reuter strode back out onto the roof of the gatehouse. Hooking a couple of grapplers on the wall, he fired up his jetpack. The screams of the Volkov he dragged off the wall, harrowing as they fell, before he continued up into the night sky toward the formidable Iron Dome. "Let's see what you got." AMJ stared up, Reuter's feet on their visors. "Holy mother of—" he breathed, realizing what he was up to. Grace felt her heart pound with Router, AI alerts flashing up with his vital signs and selected trajectory as Geek buzzed in. "Nearly out of fuel, mate, and you're heading right into that Iron Dome. Net's still live." Reuter braced, G-force increasing with speed. "Wanna fill me in? What's the plan? Router!" "Get air on. Stand by." Reuter managed. "Copy, ready and waiting." Color drained from Geek's expression as he realized Router was about to use himself as bait, turning the Volkov net and all their missiles against them.